You're watching Training Camp with Adam Marburger, exclusively on CBT News.
Welcome to Training Camp, exclusively on CBT News. I'm your host, Adam Marburger. I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a black belt in F&I. This show is designed to help automotive professionals enhance their operations to ultimately receive their rank of black belt. Today, I've got a very special guest. I've got a dear friend here. I've got a gentleman. We both own businesses in the same town. I'm with John Roberts with Roberts Ford. I'm so glad you're here, brother. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So,
Appreciate it.
We're both community guys. It's kind of nice that, Ascent Dealer Services is headquartered, I would say, 5 minutes from your dealership. So
if you drive slow.
If we drive slow. So it's really cool that we're here in the studio in Atlanta together. Let's talk about your store. You guys have been in business over 75 years.
Yes, sir.
Take us back in time. Where'd you start? How'd you guys get to where you are today?
Okay. Well, my dad had a partner. The store actually started in 1949 in Wood River, which it was him and his father. And then there's a Chrysler DeSoto dealership. And then they moved to Alton, which is the town we're in now. Mm-hmm. And my father went to work for him in '65. And the funny thing is, my dad's name is Roberts. His partner's name was Roberts, but they weren't related, which a lot of people don't know that. They don't realize that. They think he was my grandfather. But my dad was running a grocery store. And, obviously small town. My dad was running a grocery store, and Bill and his wife would grocery shop there. And his wife really liked my father, how he did business, how he ran a grocery store, and kept telling Bill, hey, you need to get this guy to come to work at the dealership for you. So he convinced my dad to get in the car business in '65. Been ever since, and is still there every day, and loves your show. Yeah. I'll say. Yeah. He always tells me, "Did you watch Adam's new show this week?" And I'll get to it. But I started in the business as a kid, as a lot of the owners' kids do, and I was washing cars, cleaning the shop, mowing the grass. Didn't have any inspiration to be in the car business. Actually was a very shy guy growing up. Mm-hmm. And knew getting out of my shell would be something that I need to do someday. And I was in a binary electronics class. I wanted to go into electronics. And my professor said, this is it, guys. This is what you're going to do all your life. And I'm like, no. And I'm looking around, I'm like, well, what am I doing? I've got this place here, all this opportunity. So jumped in. And I can remember selling my first car like it was yesterday in 1983. So I was selling cars, did that for quite a while. I got opportunity to be a manager. And interesting story about when my dad promoted me in management, his partner, who was still around, he called me in his office and he said, your dad's promoting you, and I think it's a mistake. He said, I don't think you're going to make it. I said, well, you have a right to your opinion. I said, but I think I'm ready. And he says, I don't think you got it. I think it's going to work. And I'm like, okay. So I kind of felt that I was a challenge, so I'm like, it's fine. So time goes on, and it had some really good months, and things were going well, and he came up to me, and he kept coming to the desk and saying, I want to take you to lunch, and I kept avoiding him. I didn't want to go to lunch with him. And finally, I thought, he's not giving up, I'm going to go to lunch with him just to satisfy him, and sat down at lunch, and he told me, he said, I was wrong. I said, I'm sorry, what do you mean? He goes, I said that you weren't going to make it. You didn't have it in you. He goes, I was wrong. He goes, you're doing a hell of a job. He goes, things are going great, doing a great job for us, and I just want to tell you that. And that was probably one of the coolest moments I ever had. Yeah. Looking back, I don't think he ever really doubted me. I think he challenged me. I think he wanted to throw that out there to see if I was up to the challenge.
Yeah, and, tough love's good. Now, when was that moment in time where you knew, like, all right, this is it? Like, I didn't, I wanted to be in electronics. Now I'm selling cars. What was that moment that you knew that, like, this is going to be a career? This is something I can really do and make a really good income for my family.
I think, honestly, man, you think selling that first car, the pump you get from selling that first vehicle, you've been there. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have been there. That pump you get from making that first car deal and realizing, the potential of what you could do. And, that honestly, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
I mean, how hard you want to work, how much money you want to make.
Yeah.
And so Of course, from there, of course, finished college. Got an opportunity to go to NADA, Dealer Candid Academy. Finished that. Then, of course, been at the store. Been sales manager, now general manager. My father's still there every day. He tells everybody I run the store. That is until I don't do something the way he wants me to, and then he'll let me know he still owns it.
I'm sure he does.
I won't tell you the exact words he says because this is, you could probably edit it out, but we won't say it. But still love the business every day.
Yeah.
It's,
well, your father's a brilliant man, and you guys, what I love about your stores, you guys are all things community. You guys are really plugged into the community. I love that. And you know, I'm madly in love with the Riverbend. You guys are madly in love with the Riverbend. But being so community driven, I mean, how's that really served you over the years? I mean, how's that really helped you guys being so committed to the community in your business?
Well, I think I do think it helps. I mean, you think about it. You know, I live there. I work there. I went to school there. My kid went to school there. You know, we shop there, we eat there. We jokingly say we keep all the local restaurants in business, but you're a part of the community. You're kind of, in a sense, a face of the community when you think of your involvement in everything. And you want to operate a business in a way that you're okay walking in that grocery store or in that restaurant, you know, and you know, talking to people and feeling proud about the business that you have there, that you know that you serve the community well and you treat people right. Yeah. My my daughter and I, we were shopping at Target one day when she was little. She was riding on my shoulders, and she said, of course, you're walking through a store, and of course, everybody's talking to you, and she says, Dad, do you know everybody? and you think about it, when you're in a small town, you do know everybody. Yeah. And so you operate in a way that, you know, like we like to say, we sell cars the way we would sell everybody like our friends and our family. It's the way we treat everybody. You want to treat everybody that way. They can feel comfortable coming there. They know that they're going to get taken care of. And that's how the community pays back, is it? And of course, then being involved in community events, being there when, you know, people need help, when things are going on, and actively participate. Yeah, well, you can't be in business over 75 years not doing all the right things. Right. So before I go into a couple questions about development and training, because this show's premise is based around becoming better versions of ourselves, doing the right thing and serving people. But what really separates you from the local competition? I mean, you've been there for so long. You guys are doing something right? So what is it that differentiates you from the local market and the competition? Well, as every market deals with the competitive nature of the business, there's a lot of them that like to do things. Basically, as the old saying, just get them in the door. Yep. You know, we won't talk about places and some of the things they do. We don't operate that way. Yep. You know, the way we operate is whatever, you know, we see, you see online, you see any advertisements we do. That's the deal when you come in. There's no surprises. We provide, you know, fair pricing, honest, transparent pricing, good products in our finance office. You probably know the guy that provides those to us. Yeah, heard of him. Heard of him. But and I think that's really what it boils down to is treat everybody like their family. Yeah. You know, we want to be the place that if your mother or grandmother wanted to come buy a car, or your daughter or son, you're okay with them coming there. You know they're not going to come there and get taken advantage of, that they're going to get a fair deal and taken good care of. Yep. So I'm going to ask a training development question. You shared something with me earlier, and I want to talk to the viewers watching this show. You know, I talk about all the time that training is not something that we did. It's something that we must do, and we must do it on a continuous basis. And if you want to get to the top, you got to reach out to others on top so they can help you get there. And then it's our job and it's our due diligence to lend a hand to the younger generation to lift them up as well. So John, you told me earlier that you invested in yourself earlier this year and you hired a professional coach. Yes, sir. Yep. So you're a high-powered, you know, dealer operator. You know, some would say, you know, you're kind of already at the top, but you made a decision saying, you know what, there's another level. Kind of elaborate on that if you don't mind. What made the decision for you to hire the coach, and what's changed in your life since you hired your professional coach? Well, like everybody, you should always be analyzing how you're operating and how you're performing. And you know, we were doing good, but I knew we could do better. And when you look at things, you figure it has to start somewhere, you know. And you know, I felt the best place to start is with me, because I did have some doubts in a few things and thought I could be better at. So I was in search of, and I did a lot of looking and trying to find what I felt was the right person. And for somebody looking for that, that's really the best way to do it. I reached out to a few people, you know them as well, threw a few names at me, had some conversations with somebody, and when you find that person that just clicks for you, and I found that guy, and I've been working with him for a while, and he's helped me through a lot of things and understand some of the things that I was doing in the past and why they weren't working and how to do things in a different approach and get better results. And I can tell you that I've seen a big difference in it already.
Yeah.
I mean, it's made me a better person. It's made me a better operator, but it's also helped my people because some of it I've actually been filtering down to them as well. And that's my next phase, is to get them involved and more with him as well.
I love that.
Yeah, because it's true. Your people are going to be as good as you are with them.
Yeah.
And like, you're training the trainer. You try to train your salespeople, but as he would say, who's training your managers?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you think that a lot of your salespeople became managers because they were good salespeople, but they were probably never trained on being a leader.
Yeah.
They were trained to be a salesperson. They weren't trained to be a leader. And how you get things done in a management position is different than how you get things done as a salesperson. You're worried about yourself.
Yeah.
When you're a manager, you're worried about everybody else.
Agreed.
And that's just not in the sales department. That's in finance. That's in your service department.
Yeah. I feel, I was talking to a gentleman yesterday about this. I honestly feel there's adequate sales training in the market. There's a handful of incredible training companies out there. On this show, I don't endorse. I stay very agnostic when it comes to companies on this show. But there's a lot of really great training resources out there. But I truly believe there's a lack of training resources for executive management. You got F&I trainers out there. You've got sales trainers. I don't see high-level sales management training. I don't see enough of that. I don't see high-level GSM training, GM training. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna switch gears. I got a few more questions for you. With all this uncertainty with these tariffs, and with you being a Ford dealer, Ford stepped up early. They were vocal early about, hey, we're going to just put out employee prices to combat some of the chaos and the noise going on with the uncertainty, right?
Right.
What are your views on this? What are your thoughts being a Ford dealer? How's it helped you? Has it helped you? If you don't mind elaborating on that, that'd be great.
Well, I do think it started 1st of April. April 3rd, I think. It's had a good impact on traffic. I mean, for Ford store, traffic is definitely up.
Good.
I'm concerned about inventory levels, because I think that's going to be a problem. This program runs till June 2nd, and so I think that's going to run into some inventory problems. But it does help, and I think a lot of people are concerned. I mean, we heard a lot of people, even before employee price was announced, that they were buying a car to beat the tariffs. And I know Ford recently put out a letter basically saying that nothing's going to be impacted pricing-wise until May production. So pretty soon we're going to hear what's going to happen, if anything, to the pricing structure of the vehicles. So I do think the employee prices help, definitely driven up traffic, definitely have a lot of customers voicing concerns about the tariffs and how they're going to affect the prices of vehicles.
Yes.
We concern ourselves with it, but like I tell a lot of people, we got to worry about today, what's going on right now. We'll worry about, we're in May, but we'll worry about May when we get to May, and the same with June. And whatever gets announced, I think, my personal opinion, the automotive industry, since COVID times, the key word to me has been agility. We've been through a lot. Been through COVID. We've been through chip shortages, supplier shortages, you name it, everything.
Yeah.
Crazy used car market prices, which still are dealing with. But we all find a way to persevere and get things done. I think car dealers are the ones that you can throw them any curveball you want, and they find a way to hit it.
They always. So I own businesses and other verticals, as you know, and I work with so many different professionals, and there is not an entrepreneur on this planet like a car dealer. Car dealers are the most entrepreneurial humans on the planet.
They find a way to get it done.
We figure it out. We control the controllables. We don't doom and gloom. It's a fresh day. Let's make the most of it. I love that.
Absolutely.
I got a final question for you. All right. So, I first of all, I want to know, what is your best advice you could give somebody that, maybe is a salesperson right now, and they look up to you and they're like, one day I want to do what Mr. John Roberts is doing. What advice would you give a salesperson that has aspirations to go through each part of management to ultimately sit in your chair one day? What advice would you give somebody that truly desires that?
I think obviously learn. I mean, I think you got to constantly be learning, you know, and I think reading books, podcasts, watching videos. And the other thing is realize that it's not about you, it's about your people.
Yep.
Because your people are only as good as you are. And a guy that wants to succeed and wants to be better, he has to be the one that's looked to as a leader.
Yep.
You know, I always used to say when I was a sales manager, when I was running the desk, that I was a fire chief and my salespeople all fire me. And my point being is that I'm going to ask them to run through a burning building for me. They got to want to do that. You know, and I think that's true with any leader. Well, your people have to be inspired by you as a leader. And most of us aren't gifted with that talent out of the box. You have to learn that.
Yeah.
You know, and how you learn that is another thing is surround yourself with the right people. You know, well, they say you're only as good as your circle, and it's, you know, but if you want to be more successful, find the right friends. You know, continue to educate yourself in every avenue you can.
Yeah, and I'm going to piggyback on for those watching. You know, what John is saying is very profound, right? You are your circle that you spend the most time with. If you want to be great, you got to roll around with people that are doing great things. If you want to be average, hang out with average people and you'll yield more average. So I really appreciate that comment. So first, I do want to sincerely thank you. You and your father, Sam, have built an incredible business. You guys, you know, you're pillars of the community. You guys do the right thing. You serve people. There's a reason you've been in business 75 years. There's a reason your service department is filled with people from a retention standpoint. So keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of what you're doing. It's just an honor and a privilege to be connected. Thank you for joining us here on Training Camp, and hope to have you back again someday.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So here's another episode. Thank you for tuning in to Training Camp exclusively on CBT News. Remember, if nothing changes, nothing changes. We must be willing to take action in our stores. We must be willing to invest in training and development. Remember that training is not something that we did. It's something that we must do. And we must commit to doing it on a never-ending basis. Fights are not won in the ring. Fights aren't won in the cage. Fights are won in training camp. Thanks again for joining.
Thanks for watching Training Camp with Adam Marburger, exclusively on CBT News.